I'm not sure why I get DMs on this specifically, but I get a lot of DMs asking me about neuroplasticity, which I get it. I'm just not sure why you guys are so hyper-focused on asking about that specifically, because neuroplasticity is essentially just a term to refer to your brain being plastic, meaning that it is malleable, which essentially just means that it can change and shift how it responds to certain things based on repetition and learning. This is an extremely general term in psychology that extends to even like brain injuries and strokes. Essentially, the brain is just capable of reorganizing itself in different ways and creating new neural pathways based on the different actions and behaviors you engage in. And like in the context of anxiety and anxiety-driven DPDR, it's just basically that you've responded to these symptoms and sensations a certain way so often that you've created neural pathways in that regard of how to respond to it. So like, for instance, if you had DPDR and you've been afraid of it for so long, you've created neural pathways to respond to it as a threat, or even for other anxiety-driven sensations. So essentially, when you get those type of sensations, it might flip protection mode on, which would be DPDR in this sense. And when you respond correctly, you're essentially just reducing the strength of those fear-based pathways that you've created, and essentially also creating new neural pathways of safety. So once again, when you're in DPDR and we're discussing neuroplasticity in this context, so all you're essentially doing when you're responding correctly in this context is changing the associations that you've developed over time. And through action and responding correctly when symptoms arise, you gradually, reduce the fear association that you've created with the symptoms and increase the safety association that we're trying to build. And in actuality, if I'm being brutally honest, it wouldn't be so much about these neural pathways in the same way that it would be about changing which response becomes the default through practice. It's not so much about creating new neural pathways overnight, because that does take some time. And like I said, I was getting a lot of messages about this specifically, so hopefully this brings some clarity to you guys. And if you want some extra information on anxiety, DPDR, and nervous system sensitization, I have my completely free DPDR Calm Kit, which you can get by clicking the link on my profile.